Mario RPGs are a weird thing. Despite Mario being more famous for his platforming adventures, I think I might actually like the RPGs he stars in more. Ever since I started getting into RPGs, Paper Mario always stood out to me. It had a fun combat system, a unique art style, and a story with all sorts of details that ooze charm, especially when compared to the relatively static nature of most Mario games. The original N64 classic stands out for being one of very, very few RPGs on the N64, and it's still a fan favorite for many. When I was younger, I remember liking it a lot, but unfortunately, I was never able to beat the game. I got stuck right at the end. After years and years of putting off going back to it, I decided to pick it up and start fresh when it was released on the Wii U's Virtual Console. By this point in time, I had already played through the sequel, The Thousand Year Door, and a fair chunk of Super Paper Mario, so I couldn't help but wonder how well the first game held up. Well, in short, it definitely does. However, there's a lot to talk about with this game, so let's get right to it. The basic story of Paper Mario really is no different than what we've come to expect from Mario games. Peach gets kidnapped by Bowser, Mario has to go save her, the usual. Things are a little different, because Bowser's definitely stepped up his game this time. He now has the Star Rod, a legendary artifact that grants him much more power than before and makes him invincible to top it off. After getting his cap handed to him, Mario has no choice but to seek help from the Star Spirits, a group of wise and legendary star people whose power was stolen by Bowser when he took the Star Rod. Mario finds out he has to journey all across the land to free each Star Spirit from the guardians Bowser sent to imprison them. As you can see, the story in Paper Mario is pretty straightforward. However, what makes it special is that this is one of the first games to give any sort of personality to these characters. And while I don't think it's anything grand, especially by RPG standards, it's actually really nice. It's great getting to see what Peach thinks of all of this, and what she tries to do to get out of this situation, or at the very least help Mario. While he's still not a serious villain, I also like Bowser in this, because he has his own moments that make him a more endearing character, whether it's him just being actually pretty funny, or the few places where we get to see what he's like other than just being another generic villain. Besides side characters like Twink and the plenty of interesting NPCs that fill the Mushroom Kingdom, the other characters you'll be hearing from the most are your party members. They all have their unique personalities and charms, my favorite being Bo, but the unfortunate part is that once they permanently join your party, they don't say nearly as much. Each one definitely has some time to shine, but I feel like there could have been more, like maybe some short dialogue when talking to other people, or maybe when checking something. Overall, Paper Mario has a cute little world with a lot of personality, especially for a Mario game, and it's really something special, even if it's not the only of its kind. Now, let's get to how Paper Mario plays. Gameplay in Paper Mario is pretty similar to most JRPGs, being split into traveling the overworld and doing turn-based battles. Exploring the overworld is like you'd expect. You have a hub town that connects to other areas you visit, you have side quests you can do for various people, and you go into the dungeons to find the chapter's boss. There are plenty of puzzles all over the place that you either use your partner's special abilities for, each one has something unique they can do on the overworld, or your own hammer and even jumps. You encounter enemies on the overworld, and you can even get a first strike if you attack the opponent rather than just making contact with it. They can also do the same to you. In battle, your main tools are your boots and your hammers. Jumps do less damage but hit multiple times. However, you can't jump on spiked enemies, it instead does damage to you. The hammer does more damage in a single attack, which usually makes it better for enemies that have any sort of defense, and can strike spiked enemies. The downside to the hammer is that you can only attack the enemy in front, and you can't attack anything off the ground. Both the boots and the hammer have special attacks you can do with a variety of effects, though these cost you flower points, the MP of this game. In battle, your party members also fight, and they can use their own attacks and special abilities on their own separate turn. The downside to the party members is that switching in a battle takes up a turn, and if they're hit, they lack a proper health bar, so they instead lose turns. Luckily, your party members are rarely attacked, but when it does happen, it can get a little annoying, especially if a boss or something has an attack that hits both of you. As I'm sure most people watching this already know, the main quirk of the battle system in this game are action commands, which allow you to score extra hits on attacks, make special attacks stronger, or even defend against enemies' attacks. They all revolve around timing certain button presses, moving the controller or stick a certain way, mashing buttons, etc. It adds a layer to the combat that helps it feel more engaging than the typical turn-based combat in RPGs, which I tend to find kinda boring. Battles don't usually overstay their welcome, and the boss fights can be really fun. Doing battles gets you star points, and getting 100 star points levels you up. Once you level up, you can upgrade your total health, how much FP you can have at max, or BP. BP, or badge points, allows you to equip more badges. Badges are items you'll find along your journey that can do anything from nullifying statuses to giving you more special attacks to use, or even other things, like letting you switch a party member with no turn cost. Though HP and FP look appealing, and you definitely should level them up, BP is generally what you should upgrade, as badges are the most useful tools in the game. Aside from leveling up, the two other things to mention are star powers and upgrades. Star powers are special moves you get from rescuing star spirits. They do a wide variety of things. They can be an attack, healing, a status move, stuff like that, and they use up their own special meter, which gets bigger as you rescue more spirits. As far as upgrades go, they come in two forms. You get boot and hammer upgrades that not only let you solve more overworld puzzles but also make your attack stronger, and you also get party member upgrades. Each party member can upgrade by using a super block found on the overworld, getting a new attack and boosted strength, and can also upgrade again after a certain point in the story. Paper Mario's gameplay isn't necessarily the highlight of the game, but I think it's a perfectly fine system that never gets too obnoxious, and also manages to hold your attention with the action commands. It's not a very difficult game overall, but mastering action commands is the key to success. Now that I've talked all about the gameplay, it's time for me to talk about one of my favorite aspects of this game, the presentation. I absolutely love the art style of Paper Mario. I'm actually a fan of the flat sprites in a 3D world style in general, and I think it really works to the benefit of this game, because it still looks great despite coming from a generation of games that hasn't really aged well visually overall. I love how all the characters in this look as well. Seeing classic Mario characters and enemies in this art style looks great. It's my favorite representation of the Mario series. I also think the music in this game is pretty good too, from the pleasant and catchy to the exciting and memorable. Not every track is perfect, but it's a great accompaniment for the adventure ahead. Paper Mario's presentation is really solid, and I still think it holds up very well. Paper Mario is still a great RPG that I think just about anyone can find something to love in it, even if you aren't a huge fan of RPGs to begin with. It keeps things simple, but manages to still be memorable and fun. It set the stage for an even better sequel, and remains a classic itself. Unfortunately, the Paper Mario series has been having a lot of trouble for a while now, and playing the original again reminded me about how much I missed these games. If you haven't tried it yourself, you should definitely pick it up. As mentioned earlier, it's on the Wii U's Virtual Console. There's a pretty good reason it's remembered as fondly as it is.